This video is part 13 in a series on a 2001 Chevy Tahoe engine swap. In this video I'm showing everything I've done since the last video, which was part 12. I just put the intake manifold on and that's about it. So since that time I have I installed the ignition module here. I had to connect up the vacuum line for the brakes here. I'd taken it loose to clean it off. Then I installed the PCV line from the back of the valve cover to the intake. Obviously when I installed the intake, I routed this canister purge line, or this is your evap line from your gas tank. It comes up through here. It goes underneath the fuel rail there, or fuel line right there, and then fishes up underneath this harness, and it connects on right here. Also, after I got the ignition module done, I installed the throttle body and the two steam vents. There's one right down in there. I don't know if you can see it in the shadow, but there's a steam vent there on that head and another one on this side. I then swung the power steering bracket, unhooked it from the chain and swung it around and mounted it on the block. I installed the alternator, connected up the wires on it. There's a power wire off from the battery line here, and then there's the plug that goes here, and that's it. The alternator just sits in this cradle held in by these two bolts here. That was pretty easy. I then installed the water pump. There's 6 bolts to hold the water pump in. I had to transfer the tensioner from the old water pump. This is a new water pump that came with the engine. Transferred the tensioner over here. I then installed the lower radiator hose from the water pump to the radiator, and put the serpentine belt on, and that was about it. Overall, I would say it was pretty easy to do. I love the design. There's no water up here in the intake. It's all in the heads and the block, and also the heater hoses over here going out to the heater core. But it was very fast and a very neat design. The only thing that took time was cleaning the old bolts for the water pump and the alternator and the power steering bracket. This bracket here bolts to the side of this bracket for this battery terminal. Bracket for the battery terminal mounts to the side of the power steering bracket, and I hooked that up, so that went pretty smoothly. What I haven't done yet is connected up the harness, so I'll go ahead and discuss that now. Over here on this side, you got one injector connector here, and there's 3 others going back. They have to be connected back in the same location because this is a sequential fuel injection, so each injector is timed with the firing order. I'll go ahead and show you this. This is the EGR connector here. It snaps on right here. This EGR valve wasn't mounted when I got the vehicle. I'm going to put a bolt through here to mount it to the head so it'll stop flopping around a little bit. Like I said, there's 3 more injector connectors going back. The timing connector is, it's right here. It snaps on right. It steps onto the ignition there. Then you got your map sense connector, which is back here. There's your map sensor there, and the connector's back down there. I'll snap it on in a minute. Then coming around to the front, or to the driver's side, you got your knock sensor connector here. I've already connected that. Obviously your fuel lines, I'll pop them on without tools. Then you got your ignition connector here for the driver's side, plugged in there for ignition coil packs. There you go. You got 4 injectors on this side. There's one right here up front, and I'm gonna do a separate video for how to reconfigure this connector before I put that back on. So like I said, I've got 4 injectors on the driver's side. Up here on the front, this is your evap signal, or evap solenoid canister, so I've already connected the harness for that. On the throttle body, you've got your throttle position sensor, your idle air control motor. And then down low, down here on the side of the head, you got your connector for the, so you can move this wire, the coolant sensor down there, and I've already connected that. Make sure it's all good. So that's the coolant sensor. And I believe that's it up here. I can't think of any other sensors that are connected. I did break the rubber hose that was coming from here to your fuel pressure regulator. The rubber pieces were old and brittle and they cracked, so it broke off. So I'm gonna have to replace that. I've got another manifold in my shop that I'm gonna replace that line with. But I think that's all for the harness up here on the top. And last, you got your MAP sensor connector, but it's still connected because I never disconnected it since the harness runs up. The harness runs up the fender and connects right here. So that's something you really don't have to disconnect to do an engine swap. That's all. That's all the connectors. And like I say, if you want